Only on News 4, exclusive interviews with Ford Explorer owners who say their SUVs are making them sick.
The stop-and-go traffic on the Beltway was the scariest time of my life. I really thought I was going to die.
A News 4 consumer investigation exposes a potential danger on the road and why some drivers claim Ford is turning its back on their customers.
Consumer investigative reporter Susan Hogan working for you with what you need to know to protect your family.
I would get these massive migraines.
After I had been driving it for a length of time, I just started feeling like I'm getting a lot of headaches.
Valentina and Susan, two complete strangers with one thing in common. They both drive Ford Explorers. Susan bought her 2015 Explorer brand new, and almost immediately she started smelling something gross.
I was starting to smell an odor. There was some
what?
exhaust smell. There was like almost like an egg sulfur type of smell.
Almost every time she would get behind the wheel, she would start feeling sleepy.
Like going out of the lane, my head is bobbing up and down.
And then came this a few months later.
I didn't even realize that I fell asleep. My head just went down. I woke up to a tree in my path, and it scared me, and I jumped. I could have hit the oncoming traffic, and it was by the grace of God that my son and I did not die.
That was the last straw for Susan. She went to the doctors thinking she was seriously sick.
My doctors, after I got back from Christmas, they were running all sorts of tests, scans of my brain, test after test with the blood.
The results of all of those medical tests?
All negative.
In Laurel, Maryland, Valentina and Mark Shedrick tell News 4 not long after they bought their 2016 Ford Explorer, they oftentimes smelled something nasty.
Like sulfur or some type of fumes, gas fumes or something really nasty.
Then came the migraines, the nausea.
Because I'm overall a healthy young lady. I have no health issues at all. And then, like I said, to get in this vehicle and been driving it and just feeling really dizzy and lightheaded, because I'm always complaining to my husband about this all the time.
Both ladies tell News 4 the fumes in their car would come and go, but their headaches stayed constant. Neither thought their deteriorating health had anything to do with their SUVs. Until news reports surfaced about numerous police officers nationwide, including right here in Montgomery County, saying they're getting sick from fumes they say were seeping into their police vehicles, all Ford Explorers. Both ladies took their SUVs for service immediately.
They did say that it was an exhaust fume leak in the vehicle.
I took my vehicle in to Ford and had it tested, and sure enough, it was my truck.
In Susan's case, she had her car repaired twice for exhaust leaks by a Ford dealership. And to this day, she says she's still suffering from severe migraines. And Valentina and Mark have been waiting for months for a part to fix their exhaust leak.
Yeah, they said we can still drive the vehicle as long as we don't turn on the recirculate system and just use fresh air.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has opened an investigation into all 2011 through 2017 Ford Explorers for possible carbon monoxide leaks. In a statement to News 4, Ford tells us engineers have been working with police departments and customers nationwide to address concerns, and Ford is also now inspecting both Susan's and Valentina's vehicles. However, on Ford's website, the company stresses that while it's taking action to address concerns of first responder vehicles, Ford underscores there's no issue with carbon monoxide in regular Explorers.
For the public outdoors is 9.
Valentina isn't convinced and agreed to allow carbon monoxide toxicologist Albert Dene test her vehicle.
There we go.
Using a professional CO detector, not one you'd find in your home, Dene set up 2 detectors, one in the back of the Ford Explorer and one up front. We drove along back roads at low speeds and saw no change in air quality. It wasn't until we got onto the highway and over 40 miles an hour did this happen.
9 in the front, 30 in the back. No. But this is twice the EPA limit and obviously too much.
The CO level in Valentina's car leveled out at 15 parts per million. According to the EPA, the acceptable level is 9 over an 8-hour period.
And it takes time for all this CO to leave the her body, it doesn't go in and out quickly.
Back home and parked, Valentina tells us she will no longer drive her Explorer.
What did you think when we were driving and the numbers started to go up and up?
I was just totally like out of control here. I'm like, what in the world am I driving?
News 4 learned there are now 2,700 complaints to NHTSA from people who say they've been exposed to exhaust fumes or carbon monoxide. That number includes what Ford calls regular Explorers.
They're still saying it's only affecting the police cruisers, and it's not. I'm the consumer, and here I am. I bought your vehicle. I bought it because I thought it was safe for my son and my family and for me to drive.
Now, new this evening, we just heard from Valentina, who tells us Ford engineers are right now inspecting her Explorer. We, of course, will keep you updated on what they actually find. Our consumer investigation, Asleep at the Wheel, continues tonight on News 4 at 11. We're exposing more details on the government's probe, and our investigation is also uncovering new details about when Ford became aware of all of these complaints.
When did they know? It's an answer many safety experts and consumer advocates want to know.
There's a few things about this that really disturb me.
David Freeman, former head of the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration and now with Consumers Union, says not only has Ford known about possible exhaust or carbon monoxide leaks for years, but Ford also sent these technical service bulletins to their dealers on how to fix it.
That tells me they know something is wrong.
Our News 4 consumer investigation found technical service bulletins, also known as TSBs, going back to 2012, 2014, and 2016. In all, more than 2,700 complaints over a 6-year period, 3 reported crashes, 41 injuries.
A major new development in a News 4 consumer investigation. Ford is now offering to pay for repairs associated with carbon monoxide leaks in 1.3 million Explorers. Let's get right to consumer reporter Susan Hogan, who has been working for you and out in front of this story for a long time now. Susan?
Well, that's right, Jim. Our investigation exposed inconsistencies with just how dealerships nationwide were handling complaints of carbon monoxide leaks. So we went right to Ford and asked them what they plan to do about it. So Ford is now responding with major changes. Let's get right to it. In a statement to News 4, Ford says, for our customers' peace of mind, Ford is offering a complimentary service that reduces the potential for exhaust to enter the vehicle. Customers can take their vehicles regardless of mileage or warranty status to a Ford dealer to have this service performed starting November 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2018. Now, our consumer investigation found levels of carbon monoxide inside the Ford Explorers of 2 local drivers. Ford, though, continues to say its Explorers are safe, and it has not found carbon monoxide levels that exceed what people are exposed to every day. But what we found during our investigation has us asking Ford, how would it know?
Mark and Valentina Shedrick are refusing to drive their Ford Explorer.
I'm still not convinced that this vehicle is safe for me to drive.
Days after our News 4 consumer investigation revealed carbon monoxide inside their 2016 Explorer, Ford sent engineers to inspect their SUV. They took it out for what Ford tells us was an in-vehicle drive evaluation. They tested for carbon monoxide. The Shedricks tell us the engineers detected it, although they refused to put the results in writing.
And I'm like, what is it going to take for me to get a black and white copy with the, elevated levels of the carbon monoxide?
When News 4 asked Ford why the engineers wouldn't document the carbon monoxide levels, we were told the Ford engineers who investigated the customer's vehicle did not generate a written report. They provided the information from our investigation directly to the customer verbally. This response has one car safety expert questioning Ford's motives.
And why wouldn't they put it in writing?
Well, no data, no problem.
Ford serviced the Shedrick's vehicle and took it out for another test drive and found consistent carbon monoxide readings near 0. That they documented. And when we had their vehicle retested, we found the same.
It's been going on for a number of years.
Ford continues to say it has not found carbon monoxide levels in non-police Explorers that present a risk to safety. But what exactly is that level?
There is no federal standard for motor vehicles for interior cabin air quality, particularly carbon monoxide.
In a letter sent to federal regulators, Ford says when it tested several Explorers, it found levels of carbon monoxide well below its own internal air quality standards. But when News 4 asked what those standards are, Ford told us there is no standard specifically for vehicle interiors. They went on to say Ford references a variety of government standards, guidelines, and sources to ensure the safety of our vehicles. One of those references, the Global Vehicle Interior Air Quality Standard. But we couldn't find any such standard, and several air quality experts we spoke with have never even heard of it. When we asked Ford where this standard came from, they declined to give us any information.
Only on News 4, more local drivers say their SUVs are making them sick. Some are even crediting our consumer investigation for alerting them about possible carbon monoxide leaks in their Ford Explorers.
Now their complaints are part of more than 2,700 filed with federal regulators. And tonight, there's more our consumer team has uncovered for you. Susan Hogan is working for you and has the new details.
I would be so sleepy, I felt like I was going to fall asleep at the wheel.
I felt like my eyes get real watery.
News 4 found complaints about exhaust odors dating back to 2011, and Ford has been instructing its dealers on how to fix the leak since 2012. But when James Temple brought his car to a local dealership because he was concerned, he says he was literally told this whole carbon monoxide thing was fake news.
I asked the people down there about it, and they tell me all the people just put stuff out on news, trying to get something on the news and stuff like that.
So they blamed it on the news?
Yeah, they said nothing wrong with it. They haven't heard anything about that.
So I'm at 18 in the back and 20 in the front.
We had James's car tested, and toxicologist Albert Dene found levels of carbon monoxide that alarmed him.
And this clearly is a level of concern.
In Nikki's case, the Ford dealership found leaks and fixed them, and then charged her $600.
But I don't think I should be responsible for something that, number one, isn't my fault, number two, is a serious health risk for me and my family.
While dealerships will repair the leaks, the one thing we've learned from our local viewers and from the thousands of complaints on safercar.gov, dealers are not testing for levels of carbon monoxide. And remember, Ford insists it has not found any unsafe levels. But if dealerships aren't testing, how would they know? We asked Ford this very question. Their response, these vehicles are safe. Ford has thoroughly tested vehicles and has not found carbon monoxide levels that exceed what people are exposed to every day. In researching complaints to federal regulators, we found a lot of confusion when it comes to how Ford dealerships are handling complaints, like this one from an Explorer owner in D.C. who says the dealership had no idea what he was talking about. Or this complaint from a Waldorf, Maryland Explorer owner. I brought it to a Ford dealership and they said it was nothing. We asked Ford about the mixed messages, the company telling News 4 it's doing something about it. By the end of this month, all dealers nationwide will have a complete dealer bulletin announcing a plan on how to deal with customer complaints about fumes. The program also answers questions about who is paying for the repairs. For our customers' peace of mind, Ford is offering complimentary service that reduces the potential for exhaust to enter the vehicle. Customers can take their vehicles, regardless of mileage or warranty status, to a Ford dealer to have this service performed.
So this free service begins November 1st and it will end December 31st, 2018. By the way, Ford is reimbursing Nikki her $600. And one more thing, we asked Ford just how many vehicles has it tested for carbon monoxide and what were the levels it found. Ford refused to comment. I'm Susan Hogan, News 4.